Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the day may find you. I'm just glad you're here. My name is Paul Tranny. I'm diving into Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. And yeah, I'm glad you're here. It's actually day 3. I actually kind of want to review, I'll review a couple things here in a second. But essentially, I want you to be featured. So just so you know, you can go to behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. But essentially, the link's right beneath me here, okay, if you're on Behance. Shout out to Susan and Anna and Valentine, Sam Peterson, what's up? Ooh, Susan's from Cyprus. Awesome. Very cool. I'm here in San Francisco this week, covering the Daily Creative Challenge. All you need to do is dive in. You'll receive a challenge each day. I'm going to review that. We're going to take a look at the community chat. Day 3 is all about colors and blend modes, not to be underestimated. Colors are huge. We talk about color theory all day long, right? But I encourage you to build off of these previous skills, kind of like I'm going to be doing today. Okay, just so you know. So you can go ahead and get started. I'm giving you a little source file right here. You can see it right there. You can go ahead and download that. Shout out to the people who made some cool composites yesterday, largely dealing with selecting and masking. Day 1 was all about doing some photo touch-ups, again, just with my silly mug. I think Dace did a great job. Dace O'Neill did a couple of them, and I really like it. I could show you the source file, but Dace did a great job of integrating this field in here. Perspective looks good. Love the stars. Love the colors as well. It works fantastic, okay? Got a little Dragon Ball. Why not? Super fun right here. Adele. We'll get more into... so this is all about selecting and masking, and we haven't dealt with sort of like matching color and brightness and different things. But we'll deal with that later. Great job cutting out this person. Looks really good. Sean did a fantastic job. Mike as well, using that integration and showing the original source file. Nungulu did a great job as well with a little blur. We did that at the last minute. And Tan is just messing with me some more and playing with patterns, which we'll also get into. I have so much to talk about. So much to talk about. Last one I'll review right in here is Tons. Again, 2 different files. Actually, this is color graded a little bit differently. A lot of warm tones in here. Some warm tones in here, but there's that direct sunlight. But great job integrating it. Looks pretty good from what I can tell, and I'll click on it. Get a little bit of a white edge right that. I would actually choke that in a little bit so you can actually subtract once you're in select and mask. You can do a shift edge, and you can always kind of shift that edge in a little bit, and that would definitely take care of that a little edge right there. And it will actually take care of this edge right there. See how there's that line? It would take care of both of those things if you just shift that edge. But good job. Everybody's doing fantastic. Some other fun ones in here. Let's dive into this, shall we? Again, Daily Creative Challenge. This is our file. Let's go ahead and I already have, was already kind of playing around with it. I was having too much fun earlier. This is our file, really straightforward, right? No color at all, because we're going to add color to it, and we're going to have some fun. What's up, Colby, in the house? Who's in Florida, right? Colby, good to see you, buddy. So we have this woman right here. She's actually already cut out. We don't need to worry about that. We actually did that yesterday. We also have this image right here, the skull. Number of things we can do. I'm going to do a Day of the Dead look because if you notice right out here, these are sort of like our 9-day challenges. We're going to go for something kind of like this, okay? So in here, let's go ahead and add that skull. Not to be too morbid, I apologize. But we can come in here and I showed this yesterday. Selecting that layer, we can say, hey, you know what? Just remove the background. That's all I want to do. One click, one hand, right? Remove the background. That's done, okay? Just like that, we can do Command T, rotate this into place like so. We can adjust the transparency, or excuse me, opacity of layers. But now I want to get into blend modes. So we're talking about colors and blend modes, which are your best friends, right? In Photoshop. Blend modes do wonders, right? But this is an easy example. You're thinking blend modes, will this work to kind of blend these two together? Because we're gonna go beyond opacity, right? You're like, nah, that's not even that cool. It's like, okay, but let's just play with these. If we take a look right in here, these are our blend modes for this specific layer. And I'm actually gonna pull this out so we can see it a little bit better. This layer is selected, blend modes right in here. We have darken, lighten, and then we have more color manipulation. But typically I'll just kind of roll over these and see which one looks the best for what I'm going for, right? Kind of click through. Darken looks good because it starts to, by the way, I should post a link on exact descriptions of which each one of these are. I typically, honestly, do it very designer-like where I just roll over each one of these. And honestly, I know which ones look good and I just jump right to them, right? I'm not the engineer that can tell you exactly what all these pixels do, but there are technical terms for them and I could post that link for you. But I could see, I know this darken is actually ultimately what I want. One of these in the dark modes, right? You can see right here compared to the normal, right? It's keeping those darker pixels. If I go to lighten, it keeps those lighter pixels from that image, right? But I want this to be a little bit scary, but I also want to reveal her face. Cool. Let's get into this. I'm actually going to do one more thing really fast, if I can. Something I didn't actually show yesterday. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this. Since there's already a layer mask right here, I want to convert this to a smart object, okay? Smart object makes this a separate file. It looks like the mask disappeared, but if I double click on it, we can see the mask is right there and this is a separate file, okay? So that's all I want. I just want to consolidate that like so, because I want to add another layer mask in here because I want to fade out part of the face. But this is what I'm going for. I'm going to go for darken. That's the blend mode that I want. That looks pretty good. Don't worry, we're going to play with this some more. And I can position this a little better, right? I can scrunch this up like so. Her eyes aren't quite lining up. Guess what? There's a number of things I can do. I can go into edit, transform, and warp it into place if I want to. And again, this is actually has new capabilities as well. I want a line right in the middle. To move her eyes, we can add that line using this options bar at the top, right? So I can kind of bring that down and make sure the eyes get lined up with the skull eyes get lined up with the lines on her face. This is a smart object, so that means I can add a layer mask to it, hit B for brush, and I can kind of paint and kind of remove. Crank up the flow a little bit, remove and just kind of reveal some of her eye. This is what I'm going for, right? Does that make sense? Yes, Paul, it makes sense. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Christy, hello. So that was super fun. We did a lot really quickly, but we got this to where we want it to go because if you didn't know about blend modes, it would just like look like this, and which is not bad, but you have a lot of flexibility in here. I'm gonna get into this in more depth too. You ready? Let's dive into this. Briefly, we did blend modes. We're gonna revisit those at the end, but I need to add some more colors, some more shapes to this to make it even more interesting. I'm gonna move this off to the side. We can go to window, we can go to color, right? We can open up this color panel if we want to, right? And we could have, say for instance, a new layer, and I can fill this layer with a paint bucket. I would tell you how to do that if it was 20 years ago, but I rarely use this paint bucket tool, right? That's not necessarily how I add color. How I traditionally add color now is I close this. I'll even open up this brand new, Chad knows this, probably Colby does, the swatches panel, okay? So, updated, I actually have all these colors. I have legacy swatches in here, as many as I want, and I can start to add my own colors. But right in here with that layer selected, I could just go ahead and grab a color and drop it in, right? Here's my color fill right here that gets added. This is my color fill layer. Another way of doing that, if I want to add any blank or empty color right in here, it's going to be, let's just select this blank layer. I could add a solid color is essentially what I did. I added a solid color. Bam, just like that. There's my solid color, okay? And I can pick any color I want. I could put that in the background, right? Like that. And start picking through any one of these colors, any one of these swatches, okay? Drag and drop is your friend, Chad. Thank you very much. So many different directions I want to go. I would treat this the same way when it comes to the gradients, right? We have our gradients now as well. First class citizen, not hidden in some drop-down menu. Here's my gradients, right? We can take that, we could drop it in. When I do that, it actually replaces my current fill with a gradient fill. Okay, so that's what happens there. So much I need to cover, because colors, I could spend like 3 hours on color alone, right? Because right now I'm picking colors at random. I don't really want to get too much into color theory, but it's going to seep its way in. So check this out. Brand new things. See if you know about this, Colby. This is awesome, by the way. I don't want to pick a color at random necessarily. What if I want to have this photo, the color being influenced by this photo? You could select any layer, and some of you know Adobe Capture. Well, guess what? There's Adobe Capture actually built into Photoshop. So check this out. Let me just go in here, move this down so we can see it nice and neat. I have this woman layer selected. I'm gonna go right down here, click right here. I'm gonna create colors from an image. Yeah, I could pick the foreground color. Create from image. Not only colors, but a number of things. So this is Adobe Capture built right into Photoshop. So check that out. We can see right here, we can kind of have some fun with the rotation, have all these weird heads. Guess what? What do? We'll hit Save to CC Libraries. We'll watch it. Bam, there it is. There's my pattern, right? We want her as a shape, right? We could see that. I can determine the amount of detail that I want. And this is going to create a vector shape. Save to CC Libraries. Bam. This one will take a touch longer. But guess what? I don't need to go into Illustrator to do this sort of effect. This works better than Posterize too. And again, I don't even need Adobe Capture. And I love Adobe Capture, but I like that this is right at my fingertips. We were talking about colors. Guess what? Color themes. We're going to let the colors from this photo, we're going to use those colors to influence our design. So create from image, picked up that red, which is fantastic. Some other sort of skin tones in this case. Save to CC Libraries. There it is. Right there. Okay, so if we want to match these colors, we could do that. Lastly, gradients. There it is. I can drag over this image to get a different gradient as well. We'll get some nice, I don't know, which sort of lavendery color, right? There we are. Save to CC Libraries. You got it. Okay, done, close, boom. Here's our library. What were we doing? We were playing with this color back here. We can pick any one of these colors that we want, right? And we can go from there. So it is super cool. Thank you, Steve. It is super cool. Again, this is not, I'm talking about color and blend modes, but I encourage you to use your, I know we got a lot of creative, awesome people here. Use this content, have some fun, layer one on top of the next. You'll get some amazing, cool like ideas out of this, right? But again, my goal is to continue on colors. You can pick that skin tone to start with, right? Let's add some more colors in here as well. But I want to add more shapes, okay? Sorry if I'm so high energy. I'm just like, I got my Phil's coffee. I will do a 30-minute stream in 5 minutes. No joke. All right, so this is so fun. I'm introducing presets to you, right? I've introduced 2 so far, if we take a look. The swatches. These presets, brand new as of Photoshop 2020. Gradients as well. I'll just add a new layer and I'll drop on a gradient. Oh. Let's go down here. Let's just add a gradient this way. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. So I have gradients in here as well. So we have gradients, we have swatches beneath that, and then we also have shapes, okay? How I'll sometimes draw shapes, or how you'd maybe do it in the past, because I want to add some flowers in here. And go right over here. Custom shape tool, click. Here's my custom shape that I'm going to make. And then we have up in our options bar a number of graphics right in here. So we can go into all of these. These are brand new presets for you. All right? This is awesome. I want flowers. Yes, let's get some pretty flowers. Selecting that pretty flower, drawing it out. I'm holding down the Shift key in this case, and there's my flower. Where does the color come from? From the foreground color. How do we want to change it? You just double click and we can change it. In this case, I want to go like that. Boom, boom. Right, I can do that a couple times with my shape tool, by the way. Remember, when I select this custom shape tool right up here, it's set to shape. Sometimes it'll be set to path. You don't want that. Set it to shape. And this should all be just a new layer, right, is what I have that set to. And that's the way I like it. But I can come over here, draw out another flower. Actually, it should put this on a new layer, and I don't know why it didn't. Because that's what it's set to, right? Unless I'm going crazy. Sometimes if you have the previous layer, but I'm just drawing out a couple more. Let's bring that back. Drawing out a couple flowers and then sort of changing the colors right in here. So we'll do that a couple times. That's looking pretty good. These are all solid colors, right? That we can pick from my swatches panel. I can add gradients to these if I want to. Let's pull this out. And I can actually pull from the panel off to the side. So I just need to expand this out. Those same shapes that you get from the custom shape tool that are hidden right here are also in the new shapes panel under Windows. So right in here, we can see plants and trees. Guess what? Scroll down. I combined all these, by the way, into just general groups of plants and trees, just so you know. So yours might not look exactly like this, but you can see right in here, I have multiple flowers, dropping that on, grabbing this flower, dropping that on, right? Double clicking on it, you know, changing the color or sampling from that color. So that's how I'm working. You ready for this, Steve? I know we got some pros in the building, and I know this is just a daily creative challenge, but I feel like I need to challenge everyone, regardless of where you're at. Is duplicating, right? What am I really doing here? I just need to duplicate some shapes, right? I could have this layer selected. If you hold down Command Option T, and what I'm talking about is like you could do a step and repeat like you can in Photoshop, right? So one way to duplicate this is do a Command J to jump that particular layer, right? Command J will duplicate a layer and I can make it that way. Another way of doing it is with this layer selected right over here, and let's change the color of this flower really fast. Let's make it a gold. There we go. Got some nice colors going. Command Option T, boom. I could take this, move this over, release, that duplicates it. So if you want to duplicate and move at the same time, Command Option T, right? That allows me to move it over, creates a new layer, I can shrink it down, and I'm well on my way, right? So that's my goal in this case. Technically, these are on the same layer, that's fine. Actually, let's change that back. Picking some fun colors. So far, so good. I kind of want to move a little faster for you. Placing this maybe behind her head. Let's get this party started. Why? Pulling out this panel. There we go. We can see all these fun layers. Putting that back there. There we go. Wait for it. So this is how it'll work. I'll come over here and grab some more interesting elements. Yeah, this one. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Right there. You get the idea. When I have a number of these out, I can consider playing with the blend modes. No layer naming, exactly. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not naming layers. I ain't got time to, nobody's got time to name layers. What, are you kidding me? Right, there's that is. Let's drop this in. There's some more. You get the idea. These are all vector layers I'm dealing with. And this is all free stuff that maybe you didn't know you had yesterday, right? all of these items in here. This is just like the plants and trees, by the way. I'll twirl that down. You want to add as many as you want, go right in here. Legacy shapes and more, right? So that other stuff that you want to see, legacy shapes, right in here. This is the stuff that maybe you've seen in the past or used in the past. Guess what? We have those butterflies and these other flowers as well that you might have used in the past, okay? So I'm just kind of working out this a little bit. This one's going to be in the background. Let's sample that. And let's get into this a little bit more, okay? Playing with layers and colors and blend modes. Let's move this back over. My panels are acting really weird. All right, let's dive into this a little bit more so we understand colors and blend modes. We have all these colors here. I can add gradients to these if I want to as well. We have those this gradient panel, which I end up using a lot of. Opening that up, let's just nest it. Let's just move it off to the side, right? I can go for this combination of gradients right here for this particular flower. So I can consider doing that for each one of these. Somebody mentioned not naming layers and different things. Essentially what I can do, and this is also a new feature, I have all these flowers. I don't know what's what, where they are, because there's so many of them, right? You can do, hold down the Option key and click, and it will zoom right to that flower. So that shows me that it's this one on the left-hand side. It's like, oh, that's what flower that is. Hey, let's add that gradient to it. Hey, for this flower, we want it to not be linear, but be radial, right? Just double click on it right in here, make it radial, like so. Cool, done, done. Same thing for this one. I can command click on it to find that layer, double click on it. We can change this to radial as well. Cool. That one has two. There we go. Let's go to this one. Looking for a nice color combo, like so. Radial. I want to change this a little bit. I can double click on it and make the colors a little bit more drastic, like I'm doing right now. Let's take this to more yellow, click OK. There might be two. Oh, scale was set to 1. Sorry about that. 100. There we go. I want to reverse this. Boom. There's a prettier flower. Click OK. Done. Command 0. This is well on its way. All right. Let's get into this a little bit more. I could paint, and since I want to focus back on layer blend modes, right? I can change any one of these that I want to. We're not going to notice maybe a whole lot of difference, so I'll just change this. Notice how I'm changing this flower. Which flower is it? Option click, bam, that flower. And now we can go over these different blend modes, okay? Since this is just on a solid color, you might not notice a whole lot of difference. If I move it over her face, you can see how it obviously changes, right? So I'm adding colors to these. I've added gradients to these. I'm going to get into blend modes. I'm not going to use the flowers. I'm going to paint with something else. You ready? Yeah, thank you, Chad. Just Option click or Alt click, I guess, if you're on a PC, it'll zoom right to that layer. I'll do it again. Boop, there it is. Double click, change. Sorry, I didn't move that over, like so. Cool. Command 0, we're back out. This isn't bad. Could use a little bit more work. You can you make 3D legacy shapes now? I guess if you make a shape, it's not really legacy, it would be brand new, but clarify just so I know what you mean, Anel. Big thing I'm using are all these shapes in here, but I'm dealing with colors. I actually want to paint a little bit so I can have a new layer. I can pick a color of red, okay? I can zoom down here on her lips. I can just maybe select just the lips like so. On this new layer, we could fill with that foreground color like so. And this is where I want to change the blend mode, right? See, look at that. If we take the darker color, we could see what happens here. Doesn't add any to the darker color, but tints that lighter point right there and looks really good. I could do the same right over here with her eye, right? We want her eye to pop a little bit. Let's come over here, go to that layer. Give me 1 second. Quick select tool because I'm lazy. Let's go ahead and make this maybe a nice blue. It's pretty extreme blue. And then let's go in, tint this eye a color. Here, darken works nice as well. So we did a couple just little tints to her face. We have these flowers in here. Let's take it to the next level. Oh shoot, it's actually time. I gotta wrap it up. Thanks so much, everybody. Post what you make, and I'd love to see it. See you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Boy, that went fast.